Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today on the channel, we are going to be doing some fun stuff in investigation. We're going to be looking into using AWS Rekognition as a content filter for fit check. So the reason we want to do this is there's always a risk when you have user generated or user submitted content that content could contain inappropriate stuff, right? Whether it's, nudity or swearing or lewd gestures or whatever. We want to make sure that, the stuff that's going up to this website is, generally family friendly, right? Like maybe someone wants to compare their bikini pics, which is probably okay. We'll kind of deal with that later. But we don't want them to just be straight up giving the middle finger. We also want to make sure that there's only one person in the photo kind of thing, right? Because the whole point of fit check is that it's supposed to be one person giving two photos of themselves wearing different outfits and letting the internet pick which one looks better. If they're putting in group photos, that's not going to work, right? That's kind of defeats the purpose of fit check. So we're going to be checking for all these kinds of things. And at least from what I've seen in the documentation, Rekognition can tell us that, right? Whether there's more than one person in the photo, if there's any what they call moderation labels attached to it. So things like guns, alcohol, that kind of stuff, right? So we're going to use Rekognition to try and suss that stuff out. So how we're going to do this is we're basically going to use the AWS SDK PHP Composer package. And then we're going to figure out how to send these uploaded images to Rekognition for it to kind of label and give us some kind of contextual data for this. And then we are going to review the responses, and then we're going to understand how we can use them to filter. So for example, what are the labels that we're getting back, right? Are they useful for us? And then also, do we leave it open-ended and have it so that any label that we get back from these moderation labels means that we block? Also, should that be configurable, right? Do we want to just block all, or do we want to accept a list of acceptable labels? All that kind of stuff, right? And then also, can we make this a composer package for ourselves, like a wrapper kind of around the AWS package that we can allow other people to use and allow it to be more configurable kind of thing. Also, I've been playing with my mic settings for the last little bit. So if anyone in the chat can let me know whether the sound is too loud or clipping or anything, I'd really appreciate it. So the pre-work that I've done before the stream here is not very much. All I did was I created a new temporary Laravel project, just kind of a placeholder that we can play around with. I've put in my IAM key in the env file, and I've created an S3 bucket with some sample images that I found online or that I had lying around. I'm not worried about copyright stuff for those specifically because we're not actually going to be putting them on our website. We're just using them to test. So I got some pictures of people giving the middle finger and that kind of thing, and some photos of group shots and stuff, just so that we can see what kind of labels we get back from Rekognition, and then we can basically just delete them. So yeah, I guess we can just kind of get started. So I have this empty project here. So this is a Laravel project. And if we, how do we want to do this? I think we'll just create a, let's go like this, mkdir app, let's go, I don't know, Rekognition. Okay, and we'll go touch app Rekognition client.php. Okay, so if we go to, app Rekognition client. Okay, and so we'll get started here. Let's close that and say PHP namespace Rekognition. No, it's going to be app Rekognition. Yep. I'm going to call this class client. And so when we look for a client, what are we going to need? We're going to need what do we need? Let's go take a look at the docs, because I did have this, and I believe it's just the set of options. And there was a list. Oh, this is probably too small for the stream, so let's make that a bit bigger. Debug stats endpoint. Let's just go like this. What do we want to do? We want to say AWS Rekognition client PHP. PHP example. Here we go. Okay, so this is from the AWS docs itself. So if we pass a list of options, all we need to confirm do is the region, I think, is the only thing we really care about right now. So let's say public string region equals US East 1, yes. And we will say, actually, let's go like this. String region equals US East 1, and then this region equals region. Then we can just kind of get rid of this stuff. Okay, so if we don't pass in a region, we're just going to use US East 1, which is fine. And so let us, we're going to build everything, I think, just in this class, because this is just going to be a POC. I'm not super concerned about like proper architecture for the code. What I really want is just something we can quickly iterate on and just play around with. And then later in the stream, if we have time, we can probably like refactor it out to be more like proper OOP. But for right now, this God class is going to be fine just while we kind of explore the API and figure out how it works. So, pardon me, let's go like this. So let's say function. I'm just going to call this handle because this is going to do everything. And so we're going to say client equals new AWS Rekognition client. And I think that's actually not correct. Let's go, because I believe it is actually, oh, okay, it is. Okay. Okay. And so we will say that, and region equals this region. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and so I'm going to close this out so that we can then go back in here with our autocomplete working now, hopefully working. And so what do we need to do to send a photo? This is all going to be brand new to me, so let's just go and figure it out. So detecting inappropriate content. Okay, so I've got the IAM set up with the right roles. Close that, close this. And so now, unfortunately, they don't show how to use the PHP one, which is fine. It is what it is. Yeah. What do we want? We want to... Okay, so they're creating the client, which is generally what we're doing. Tech automation equals new. Okay, so it's creating a new request. Image is creating a new S3 object. Is that a .NET thing? No. Okay, let's go like this. Oops. Okay, how are they doing this? So they're using a local image, not a S3 image, which doesn't super help us. AWS Rekognition PHP. Because what we want to do is we have images in an S3 bucket, and I can show you that in a minute here. I have this S3 bucket called Rekognition Testing Fit Check, and there's like 4 folders in here. In the middle finger one, we've got 3 photos of people giving the middle finger. I think I've got 3 photos of multiple people in the image. These photos have no people in the image, so there's just like, it's just random pictures. And then the single picture is just these like a single person in a photo. So these are what we're going to use to kind of test these. I just need to figure out the syntax for actually attaching those. So let's go to HTTP. I'm just guessing here. I've never seen this before. Photos controller. Okay, so request file photo. Okay, so it's sending that as from the uploaded request. I thought there was a way. In fact, I know there's a way because they talk about it in the docs that the upload image to your S3 bucket exactly. Detect operation request. So name photo. Okay, so what we're going to do is we are going to say bucket equals recognition testing fit check. And for right now, we're just going to say photo equals no people np1.jpg. Okay, so once we've got that applied, how are they doing it here? So they're just okay, so they're creating an image called S3 object with the minimum confidence. Okay, so let's go like this. So we're going to call this like image object equals image S3 object bucket name photo. Perfect. And we also want to include the minimum confidence. And confidence, so we'll say 70. Sure, 70% confident. And again, we can tweak these all in a bit. I just wanted to start getting something back, and then we can start tweaking as we kind of learn how this goes. Okay, so we have this. So now, how do they send it? They're just doing a recognition client detect moderation labels. Okay, so we'll say client detect moderation labels. Image object, sure. And what do we get back from that? Is it just go like this? And let's go into Art Tinker. Let's just see what we get if we go new app recognition client. Okay, and then we say client handle. What do we get back? Image is missing and is a required parameter. Okay, so this needs to be obviously capitalized. Okay. Handle. Okay. So it's object key. Okay, so we're not passing in the correct auth. So we need to pull in the AWS secret key and API key or whatever they're called. So let's go take a look at this example code again. This Laravel one, because at least they're probably doing it similar to how we're going to do it. HTTP controllers, photos controller. Okay. Okay, so they're not passing in the details there. Okay, let's go take a look at handler, endpoint discovery, stats, debug, credentials. Okay, so how do we create credentials? key and secret. Okay, so let's say credentials equals. Okay, how are we going to do this? AWS credentials, yep. We will remove these and put in the actual ones. So we'll say config. Now I forget the services. So let's go take a look at services. Yeah, so this is basically what we want here is we'll just use the SES stuff for now because again, it works. So we'll say services.ses.access key. And services.ses. Secret key. SES key and secret. Okay, so now that we have the credentials, how do we pass them to the constructor? Okay, so credentials. All right, let's see if that works. Unable to get object metadata from S3. Okay, so it's still not working. Object key region or access permissions. Now I'm thinking that this IAM account does not have access to this S3 bucket. So let's go take a look at that. Just copy the names since we're going to need it. Users, fit check. Yeah. Aaron, AWS S3 ;: that. And that. Star. Okay. Save changes. Cool. Still no. Okay. Let's take a look. Did we do this right? Recognition, testing, fit, check. Yes. Okay, so the IAM thing should not be an issue anymore. What else can it be here? Let's take a look at. Okay, so it says the credentials can be an associative array. So let's go like this. Okay, so that should be the associative array. Let's see if this gets us any closer. Okay, so exit or tinker. Okay, we got stuff. Cool. All right, so we're getting responses. So obviously what we want is something more than just this. So there's got to be another method on here. Let's take a look at what's available on the detect moderation label. Oh, there's a get. Okay, let's try that. exactly one expected. Okay, what is the one that it wants? Key. Okay, so when we're looking at this, section label, blah, blah, blah. Detect faces, okay. Let's look at the response again. Okay, so there were no moderation labels on this, which is actually what we're looking for. So this actually is the response that we want. It's just it's not seeing the moderation on there. So let's take a look. So which one are we doing? We're doing the no people. Okay, so that's not a moderation. Let's try the middle finger one. Middle finger MF1. Oh, right, because this doesn't need to be here. Pardon me. Okay, so yeah, so perfect. So the middle finger, photo of a middle finger, it's actually showing rude gestures, which is awesome. And it's got a confidence of 85%, which is awesome. Okay, so let us try something here. Let's go like this. Let's go photos equals. We're just going to make a big array of these and we're going to loop through them. And I just want to see what we get back here. So we're going to say, okay, so 2, 3, and then what did we get? We had no people. No people. We're pretty sure that this is not going to show any moderation labels, but we should still be able to get labels from it, just not using a different method. So let's go like that. Oops. And what was the other folder? I don't even remember. 3. Multiple people. Okay. Multiple people. Okay, and that should be good for now. And so now let's say, for each photos as photo, and we're just going to dump these so that it doesn't kill the script. Okay. Okay, so now we should get some moderation labels for each of these objects. And actually, let's go like this. Let's dump out the photo just so we can make sure we're kind of separating each one. Okay, so if we go to this and let's rerun our client, this should run a bunch of times. Cool. Multiple people 1 doesn't exist. mp1.png. Okay. So these two are actually PNGs. Okay. Okay. So let's exit out of here, clear that, go back into Tinker. Let's start over. Okay. So this should complete pretty quickly here. Awesome. All right. So what do we got? We got some middle fingers, good, rude gestures. So if we're seeing rude gestures as a label, we can just block those out. Middle finger, it did not see middle finger in that one, which is interesting. Again, I'm not going to show those particular ones on stream because I don't want to get demonetized or whatever. No people is not going to show anything for moderation, which is fine. Same with multiple people because again, they're not doing anything bad. It's just they're not there. So now, if we say detect labels, this is another method on this client, the recognition client that we can play around with. Let's see what it gives for these. Okay, so interesting. So it's got like reading, beverage, wow, lots of stuff here. Person description. Okay, person. Okay, this is a lot here. Okay. Okay, so it's identifying a ton of stuff, which is way more than we need. What we can do though, AWS Rekognition, multiple people. I know there was a bit in their documentation where it talked about counting the number of people in an image. We might just have to basically look at like one of these multiple people images and just see if there's multiple persons detected, and if so, then we can just so like if we go like this, just comment these out for now. Let's exit out of here, clear that. Okay, so right now it should just do one of the multiple people images. Okay, so what do we got? Yeah, footwear. Holy cow, this is a lot. So people, person description. Okay, so instances. Okay, so no instances of people. Instances. Okay, so what we're looking for here is if we see a person and there's more than one instance, because what these look like are bounding boxes of each of the persons found in the image. And so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, exactly. So what we want is we basically want to know if there are people in this image, or sorry, if there is this person label and there are more than one instance in the person array, then we know that there's multiple people in the image. So let's go like this. And again, we're just kind of playing around here. We'll figure out how we're going to actually implement the details of this later. So let's say, so we'll call this like results. So let's say, how do we want to look at this? We want to say if results labels, yep. So let's go like this. If is set results labels, and I wonder if we can just drill right into here. I can't remember how PHP does this. If results labels, it's capital L. If results labels and how are we going to do this? Yeah, so we're just going to have to loop through and find them. Okay, so if results labels, for each results label as label. If, and again, I know this is not very efficient, but again, we're going to figure this out like and refactor as we go, kind of thing. So if label name equals person, yeah, and label count greater than 1. Dump more than one person found. Okay, so actually let's say count label people found in this photo. Let's take a look. Exit out of here one more time. 6 people found in this photo. Okay, that seems like too many because it should have only been 5, I believe. Person. Oh, right. Okay, so that's incorrect. So we're looking at the wrong thing. So if count label instances. People found in this photo. Again, that's label instances, yes. Cool, 5 people found in this photo. Okay, that's what we're looking for. All right. So, pardon me. How do we want to do this? So let's say get, let's just call it multiple people. Okay, and so what are we going to take in? We're going to take in, is it just an array that it returns? An AWS result, okay. So we are going to take in an AWS result. That's going to complain because we haven't imported it. That's okay. Okay, so what do we want to send? We want to say this. Okay. Let's do this. I want to return count label instances greater than 1. Otherwise, we want to return false. Pardon me. Okay, so now what we can say is if this multiple people results, actually, we can even just go like this. Return count label instances greater than 1. Do we actually want to return true or false, or do we want to say return how many people? If this multiple people results, we want to say Multiple people detected in photo. Yep. Photo. Wow, typing is not great today. And else, no people detected in photo. Okay. So let's say, in fact, let's say one or fewer people detected in photo, right? Because in theory, there could be 0 people. So let's go like this and comment this one. Okay, so we should get one of each. So let's go client handle. Multiple people detected in photo. Okay. Now why is that? Let's say dump count label instances. So how many people does it think is in the no people photo? Thinks there are 10 people in that photo. Let's raise our confidence up to 90. Let's see if that has anything to do with it. Right. Okay. So one or fewer people detected in photo, multiple people detected in photo. Okay. So this all right. So how do we want to do this? We want to, this is after we get the labels. Multiple people. Yep. So we can get rid of this. So what is the next thing we care about? We care about if there are no people. So in fact, it's interesting because the no people should have literally no people in it. If we go to no people NP1, this is the photo that's being displayed. And so it still thinks there's a person in this photo, which obviously is not correct. So let's dump out those results and find out where it thinks there are people. Okay, so city, metropolis, road, street, urban, path, sidewalk, blah, blah, blah. Where are the person? Bounding box. So it thinks that's very interesting because there is definitely not a person. And the bounding box is less than 1 pixel. That's interesting. Okay, so if we go to, let's say, this one, which is this photo here, that might cause some issues with these people in the background. So actually, let's take a look at NP3. NP3, okay, yeah, so NP3 is just the beach. So let's use this one. One or fewer people detected in photo. Okay, perfect. And it's not seeing any people in that photo. So there's got to be something about this particular photo that it thinks there's a person up in the very corner. Unless it sees this down here, this mannequin or something, and thinks that that's a person. Interesting. Okay. Okay, so let's do this. So we want to say labels is that labels, and we can just get rid of that, and then unexpected. Oh, so now let's check to see if there are no people in the image. So we'll say function no people. Yep. Again, just going to be a Boolean, and we're going to take in the result. And so, so we can, how do we say? First thing we want to say is for each result label is label. Yep. Count instances equals 0. Yep. Also, so basically, if there is a person, but there are no instances of it, obviously we want to return that as true. There's no people. But also, if there are no labels with the name of person at all, we also want to return. Okay, so actually we can say like this. If let's just have like a tracker or something, like a flag. Person label found equals false. In fact, do we even need this? So if we say return true, in fact, because if it hasn't found a label with the name person, then we can just assume that there are no people in this image. So that's good. Okay, so if this blah, blah, blah. Let's go else if this no people labels. No people detected in photo. Now we can say one person detected in photo, which is exactly what we are. That's kind of the gold standard. We just want to know if there's one person. Okay, so let's go actually over here, because we're going to have to, I don't know if we can even do this in AWS. I can't remember. Single person. Can we rename a file? I don't think we can. Oh, rename object. Okay, so we'll just call this SP1. Yep. And actions, rename SP2. All right, so we now have 2 single person photos. And if we go into single person, okay, so multiple people, yeah, we'll try this one. Okay, so we should have one of each here. One with no people, one with a single person, one with multiple people. So client handle Perfect. No people detected in photo, one person detected in photo, and multiple people detected in photo. Awesome. That's kind of what we're looking for here. So that's kind of the the first check here. So we're using the composer package. Yeah, we're uploading images to Rekognition. We've reviewed those, and so open-ended, we definitely don't mean any label unless we're just talking about the moderation labels. So what do we want to do? So the next thing we're going to want to do is, so we don't need that being dumped out. So let's check. Pardon me. Let's see. We've got, I really want to split these up into kind of two different sections, like one for just like the inappropriate stuff and the other for like I don't know what the correct noun is going to be here, or the correct verb, to basically say, like, you know, we're going to be using both the detect label and detect moderation labels methods. And I want to kind of split them off so that they're kind of separate, in that like all of the kind of suggestive, inappropriate stuff is kind of contained within one method, and all of the just like counting stuff is in another. So I don't know how we're going to do this. Let's go like function detect inappropriate content. It's going to take a result. Okay, so in fact, no, it's not going to take a result, because this is just going to take in the image object. So it's going to be an array of an image. Pardon me. And so basically it's going to take this thing in and then return, and then do all the kind of detecting of all the different bits. So for inappropriate content, I think we're just going to look for any moderation labels whatsoever. And if there are any, then we're just going to say that it's inappropriate, period. For right now, that's enough. And then we can kind of figure out what the other labels are. And if there's anything that we want to keep and pass in as an exception, then we can deal with that later. So detect inappropriate content. So what do we want to do? We're taking the object and we want to say labels equals client. Oh, and we're going to have to take in a client. Yeah, Rekognition client. Rekognition client, yep. And so we're going to say detect moderation labels in the image. And we're basically just going to say return labels is set. No, sorry. Is empty a thing? Is empty. That's from PHP unit. PHP is array empty. Okay, so it is just empty. Okay. Labels, moderation labels, right. So what we're saying is if there are any moderation labels, we don't care what they are. We're just saying, yep, there are them. And so if it's empty, that's going to return false. So we want to negate that, and we want to say basically, if it's not empty, we want to return true. So let's go like, has inappropriate content. Yeah, because it's a Boolean, so has no people. Has multiple people. Okay, so first thing we're going to do here is we're going to say, yep, if it has inappropriate content, we're just going to say inappropriate content detected in photo, and then continue, because we just want to, if it has any, then we don't care about the count or anything. We can just skip. Okay, so it'll just go to the next photo. Otherwise, it's going to start doing the people counting. So now if we do one of these middle finger ones, oops, Tinker. Hey guys, welcome to the stream. Appreciate it. Client handle. Okay, so one person detected in photo, no people. Okay, so it was not. So the first one, the first photo, it's not seeing the middle finger enough. Let's do a few more and just take a look and see if that's just the content of the photo or if we're doing something wrong here. So client handle. Yeah, so in these photos of middle fingers, I'm just going to hide my screen here for a second. I just want to take another look at these photos because, again, I only looked at them for a few seconds when I was downloading them. I just want to see if there's anything obvious about them. Yeah, these are very, very clearly people giving middle fingers. So I'm not sure why it's not being detected. Let's go back to the camera here. Okay, so what I'm thinking is for our confidence, I'm thinking confidence is probably too high for the inappropriate stuff. So let's go like this. Let's remove the minimum confidence on the image object itself. And what we're going to do is we are going to say, image min confidence equals, let's say 80 for this. And we will, for these ones, again, just playing around here. Just want to see if this is going to work. 90. Okay, so now we have different confidence levels for the different types of recognition. So for the inappropriate stuff, we want a lower confidence. For the just normal labeling, we want a higher confidence. So handle inappropriate content. Okay, so it's still seeing not seeing the inappropriate content on that third photo, but we're getting better here. But the other counts are going good. So no people, then one person, then multiple people. Let's see. So min confidence. What if we put this to, again, just trying stuff out here, 75. Does that get us to 3 inappropriate contents? Tinker, client, handle. No, it's still not seeing it in that final photo, which is interesting. Okay. Is there anything else we can do to make that? Let's take a look at the actual response here. Just the one that it's not coming back with. I just want to see what it's seeing. Let's go dump labels. Yeah, it's not seeing any moderation labels. And again, while I'm not going to try and get myself in trouble by showing some inappropriate content on this stream, I can confidently say that photo definitely has someone giving the middle finger. So I'm not exactly sure what that's all about, why it's not detecting the moderation labels there. Which is unfortunate because I was hoping that we could use this as a pretty bulletproof solution, and it doesn't look like it's going to be. So let's go back to NeoVim for a minute here. Is there anything else we can tweak? Detect moderation labels. Don't think so. Appropriate content. Yeah, so our confidence level is still, you know what, let's go like this. I want to see, let's just make it 15%. I just want to see if there's ever a level in which it's confident that there's someone giving the middle finger in that photo. Okay, so 53%. Okay, so now let's do this. Again, just trying stuff out here. If we set the minimum confidence to 50, and we do no people, single person. Let's see what we get with this level. No. Don't want this right now. Okay, so that's honestly, this is fine because it's still only seeing inappropriate content in the photos where there is inappropriate content, which is exactly what we're looking for. Try a larger sample. Yeah, so like I'm not actually training this model. This is just some images that I found online that I'm just playing around with to try and see how accurate AWS's model is. So they have a way to train the model as well. And I can't remember the term that they use for it, but there's a ton of like extra work involved. What I was hoping is this was going to be more of a turnkey solution. It looks like it's at least, even though we have the confidence level down for this inappropriate content to 50, it still seems to be accurate because it's filtering these other photos through it first. So it would flag those ones first if it was an issue. So if we go like this and we do all these images. Yeah, and see that's the problem is like, so if I had 20 similar pictures, I agree. The problem is right now I don't have 20 similar pictures, and I'm not going to actually give the finger on this stream, even if I'm just taking them with my phone, because I don't want to get in trouble by the Twitch gods. I probably will do that after the stream is done, just to see if I can figure out what aspect of the photo it's either clipping or not clipping on, kind of thing. But so let's take a look. So there's 3 inappropriate content. Yep. 1 person. Yep. No people. No people. Multiple people. No people. 1 person detected in photo, which was the no people one. right, these are the mannequins, so there were nothing we're going to be able to do about that. So honestly, like I'm actually kind of happy with how this is working. Like it's not perfect, and it's definitely going to need some tweaking. Um, but this is a good first attack at it. So the next thing I want to do is I want to extract some of this stuff to like like I want to extract all this to like its own method. So if we go, let's see if I can remember p8 factor, extract method. Let's go has, I don't know, exactly one person. Yes. Where did it put it? Must have put it at the bottom. Okay, so array image object. Yep. And so this can go. Interesting to try with people with shirts with inappropriate sayings slogan. Yeah, actually, that's a good point, and actually, I'm going to make a note of that for myself. That's a really good idea. Again, I don't want to do that on the stream here because I don't want to get in trouble. But that's definitely something I should be checking for sure. So to do after people with inappropriate slogans, sayings on their clothing. Thanks for that. I appreciate it. That's a really good idea and one that I hadn't thought of. So yeah, thank you. Okay, so if we're going to say this, we're going to say has exactly one person. We're going to say this. And this is going to be return false, return true. Okay, so we want to say if this has exactly one person, yep. Multiple or no people detected in photo. And so this is the kind of base case where everything else worked. And we're going to say dump photo accepted. Okay, so we've got all of these. So in this case, if we rerun this, there should only be basically 2, maybe 3 photos that show up here. Technically, there should only be 2, but there's a photo with a mannequin in a store window that it's probably seeing. Photo accepted. That's not great. That's way too many photos accepted. So what are we doing here? Oh, right. Continue. Beautiful. Okay, so this is the one that has the mannequin in the window. I'll bring up that photo just so It's obvious. Code, recognition, photos. I think it's no people one. So yeah, so if you look in the bottom corner here, it might be seeing this person, or this mannequin down in the bottom corner, or it could be seeing any one of these photos. Like there's a photo of looks like a model or something. It's really hard to see if you're not like right up close to it, but it technically is there. So that I'm not super concerned about. So basically we have a pretty accurate detection system, which is awesome because now we can effectively take this code and dump it in fit check. Now I'm not going to do that quite yet because I want to think about this for a second. So do we leave it open-ended? Any label means we block. Should this be configurable? So yeah, so the next thing is this has inappropriate content. So right now we are saying if it comes back with any labels whatsoever, any moderation labels, that we're just going to block it, right? Like we don't care if it's guns or alcohol or smoking or bad words or middle fingers or whatever, right? If there are any kind of content like that, we're just saying no, that's not acceptable. In theory, we may want to at some point say, well, we're okay with someone smoking in a photo, right? Whatever that thing is. And so in theory, we probably should be allowed to pass in a list of labels that we won't block on. So like we could think of something like smoking and I don't know, alcohol or whatever, and we'll find some images that match these and we'll get the correct labels. But what we would do is we would take in this an array of labels and we would basically say something to the effect of labels. I guess we could just say unset. Oh no, we're gonna have to do this as a for each. So we're gonna have to say for each labels, moderation is label, yep. And if in array, the needle is going to be the label, and the haystack is going to be our labels. We want to basically unset label moderation labels. Yeah, I think. Oh, right. And so this is going to be ignore labels. Okay. So let's go find a photo of someone smoking. Let's get a few. Jazz. And then photo of someone drinking alcohol. And again, I don't really care about the copyright on these because we're not actually using these to train it. We're not saving these anywhere. We're just using them as kind of example data just to see if the recognition service is going to treat them the way we think they are. Okay, so let's go like this now. So we're going to go create folder. Folder name is going to be smoking. And create folder alcohol. Okay, and I'm just going to hide my desktop for a second here. Smoking. L2, L3. Sorry, just uploading the photos right now. And the alcohol ones. All right. Okay, so we now have 3 alcohol ones, and we also have 3 smoking ones uploaded. So smoking and the alcohol ones. Okay, so now let's hide those for now. We're going to say smoking sm1.jpg. Alcohol, yep. Cool. And actually, you know what? First, let's comment these. And we will go down to the inappropriate content one, and let's dump out the labels, and let's see what we're getting back here. Dump labels. Oh, pills, drugs and tobacco. Okay, interesting. Okay. So drugs and tobacco, that's going to be a label that we would want to, in theory, accept. Like, I don't know why you'd want to, but let's just pretend for now. Drugs and what was it? Drugs and tobacco. Drugs and tobacco. Okay, so now what we're saying is, so right now, this one came back as inappropriate content detected in photo. So now if we rerun this, because now we're passing in the right array, it should be okay. Interesting. Oh, right, because it has to, oh, that's annoying. Okay, so unset. So we have to do oh, that's annoying. So we are going to say, so for each moderation label as label, and then if in array label name, ignore label. Nope. So if the label name is that, then we want to, how do we unset this one? This is going to be index that, and we want to remove the index. Okay. Still inappropriate content. Right, because it's... Okay, so here's the interesting thing here. So we have this photo. I'll just go to it here, I guess. Can we see it? Of course not. Okay, so this is the photo we're working with right now. And if we go to our response here, so it's seeing pills as a 90% confidence rating on this. I mean, the guy is definitely smoking. I don't see any pills. I mean, the bokeh balls, I guess, could be thought of as pills, but it's got a 90% confidence rating. Interesting. And the other interesting thing is if even if we find this particular instance or moderation label, we're still going to have to remove all of the chain down, because as you can see, so this one's the drugs and tobacco is kind of like the top level, like the taxonomy level is 1, and so it has no parents. But this one has the parent level of drugs and tobacco, and it has a taxonomy level to 2, which means it kind of like chains up to drugs and tobacco. And the pills has a taxonomy level of 3, which chains up to this. So it's like we have to recurse through the tree and get rid of all of the child labels before we can basically do our count to see if there are any actual moderation labels, which is doubly annoying. Just leave that open for now. So just for ease of use sake, let's just only dump out the actual labels that we're getting. So for each labels as index label, if the label name in array okay, so this is going to just get rid of the single one, which is fine for now. We'll worry about kind of recursing through the tree in a minute. Okay, so at least we're getting rid of the one that we actually wanted to get rid of, which is the one that had the name of drugs and tobacco. So what we're going to have to do now, So we're going to have to create a new recursive function that loops through and continually calls itself based on like if there's a parent name. So what I mean by that is like, so if label parent name actually we're going to go like this. We're going to say this unchain, I guess. Labels and the label okay, and so the unchain, so function unchain is going to take in the array of labels and parent. What do they call it? Just parent name. Okay, parent name. So we're going to say right. No, that's too much. For each. Still think that's wrong, but let's see what we get here. No. Okay, so what are we missing here? If yeah, there we go. Nope. Okay, so for each labels as, yep, if the name is the parent name, we want to again call itself to find out if there are any others. If label name equals the parent name. And I will rekey that after the stream. In fact, I'm going to do it right now. Really got to stop doxing myself on this stupid stream. Security credentials. Access key. Sorry, just give me one sec, guys. I'm just going to fix the key here. Fit check. Go back here. Cool. So if we go to S3, what were we doing? I don't even remember. Why am I doing this? Okay, unchain. So we basically want to drop all of the children. So take a list of the moderation labels. And we want to return the actual... do we need to do this? I don't... Can't remember if unset does that for us. Moderation labels equals that. All right. Void function must not return a value. So what are we voiding? Okay. And I think that actually might be working like we want it to. That dump moderation labels. What are we missing? Should be returning an empty array. Why is it not returning an empty array here? Good old high dump. I don't think this is going to work. Yeah, so it's failing somewhere. Pardon me. Let's see what we're getting here. Client handle. And we got an infinite loop. Perfect. All right. So if label name equals the parent name, unchain, yeah. I'm going to unsave that for a minute. Let's do this again. So if the label name is in the ignore labels, first thing we want to do is we want to say remaining labels equals this unchain curious. Oh, still an infinite loop. Okay. So what are we doing wrong here? So we have this list of moderation labels, and we want to unchain this label, one that's being passed in from up here. So for example, drugs and tobacco. We're going to take that chain of labels, and for each of them, if the label is the parent name, we want to now go through this again and loop through all of the parents. So it's going to say now the this one should get products, and then it should get pill, like come up to pills. Oh, that's okay. So I have it backwards. So if the parent name is that, return value must be a type array, null returned. Okay, so that's unset new label index. How can we do this? Just dump out new labels for now and see what we're getting. So return value must be type array, null returned. Okay, so I'm just trying to figure out if when you're doing an unset, like if it's like the last item in the array, if it just kind of turns the array to null. PHP unset. Okay, so that's not what we're looking for. HP remove item from array. Just thinking here. So if we have the index, by index, yeah, practical examples using unset. Yeah, this is what I was trying to do here. Using unset. Yeah, exactly. So using unset the array with the index. Hmm. What am I doing wrong here? Moderation label this, unchained moderation labels with the current name. We also want to find any parents. Like, this is not a complicated thing here. It should just recurse up the chain. What am I missing? Find variable new labels. Yeah, so I'm guessing that unset will delete the array. So if we say array equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, sure. And we unset array 1 and array 2, array 3. What do we get with array? Oh, right, because array 0. Okay, so it is an empty array. So don't need that. So if the label that we're currently on, the name is in the ignore labels list, we want to unchain it. Nope, still not. This is supposed to be a very simple recursive function that just calls itself. So let's loop through this line by line here. So we have this array of labels. We're going to call this 1, 2, 3. Actually, we can probably just copy it right from here so we can loop through it mentally. Okay. So for each label, we're getting the index and the label. So if the first one we're getting passed is this one, because this is in this ignore labels. So this is the first one that's going to actually catch. So we're going to get this first. So if the parent name, no. Okay, so I think this is already where we're going to run into trouble. So we are given the labels, all of them, and the parent name. So we're given all of these. So if the parent name is the parent name, like the drugs and tobacco, so we've found it should pass us this one. We want to unchain it, so loop through this again. And this time the label is products, or the label name is products. It's being passed in. And so it should, if the parent name is this, so now the parent name is products, which is what we found here. Labels, okay. So then we're currently in this iteration of the loop, so we should be unsetting 0 and then returning back this new labels. So it should be just this. And then we're on this level, so it should unset 1, and then it should unset 2, and then it should be empty. Curious what it thinks the index is on each of these runs, or if it gets any of them. Zero 1 0 0 1 2. That is not the order I would expect it. I would expect it to be 2 1 0 1 0 0 is the order that I would expect it if it was in that kind of recursive thing. Yeah, like once it reaches the top and there are no more, okay. Okay. Just had the unset in the wrong place. Well, that's annoying, but fine. Okay, so we can get rid of this. Okay, so moderation labels. Okay, so that was a very, very long, a very long detour here, but that's okay. So let's go to our alcohol, our smoking ones. Actually, let's just do just the smoking ones first. Cool. So all of them would be fine if we were allowing drugs and tobacco to be in the photos. We're not actually going to leave this like this permanently, but just as an example. Then we can go like that. Get rid of these extra dumps that we don't need, and then so let's get rid of those. Okay, so I'm actually going to add some comments here so that I don't want to kill myself later. Okay, so nor labels should be an array of recognition moderation labels that are permitted. Example, drugs and tobacco. So let's go take a look at what an alcohol one looks like, one of the labels that it detects. We are going to need to dump moderation labels. Yep. If I could spell that correctly. Moderation. Wow, that was some interesting typing there. Okay. So what does it see when it sees alcohol? Alcoholic beverages. Okay, the parent name is just alcohol. Okay, cool. So, pardon me. So, and we're already just calling it alcohol, so that's cool. I'm curious if alcohol, if AWS actually has a list of these labels. AWS Rekognition moderation labels list. Just want to kind of link to it if we can, so that we don't have to just keep dumping out random ones to try and find specifics. So, okay, so here they are. So let's go. What categories can you link to this? Of course not. Great job, Amazon. Love it. full list of labels can be found in the table at. Cool. All right. So now that we've got all that going, let's go like this. So in reality, there should be either 2 or 3 images that pass in total if we run our full kind of suite of tests, for lack of a better term. Oh, actually, no, because we're currently allowing. So ignore labels. We should. This is going to be an empty array by default. If not empty, ignore labels, then we want to do this stuff. Otherwise, we're just going to return if it's empty, because then we're obviously not ignoring anything. So this can go away. Okay, let's try this one more time. Clear the screen. Okay, there should be 3 images. Yeah, inappropriate content, perfect. That's the one with the person in it that we're not sure about. It might be a mannequin. Perfect. We have a working content detection system for fit check. This is great. Okay, so this is configurable now. Default block all, otherwise accept a list of acceptable labels. Yep. Cool. Can we make this a package? Just as we've been kind of typing this out, I don't think this will actually make a good package. And the reason I say that is while it is vaguely configurable, it's still very kind of tuned to our needs. I mean, we could basically publish that has inappropriate content one. I guess I could see someone needing that. But as far as like the has no people versus has multiple people, like I'm fine with posting this online. I just don't think it's worth creating a package over, because these are very like opinionated things. Like I can't imagine there's going to be a lot of developers who need these specific functions, which would like that would find any use out of this, right? Now, actually, there was one other thing that I wanted to see. There was, I think, like, so the other thing that I was thinking about is like, I think there's a way with Rekognition to say, given 2 photos, are they of the same person? And so because this is fit check, what I would like to do is say like, okay, yes, if these photos aren't even of the same person, those should also be rejected. And so comparing faces and images. Okay, so with Rekognition, you can compare faces between 2 images using the compare faces operation. Applications like identity verification or photo matching. Compares the face in the source image with each face in the target image. Images are passed to compare faces as either blah, blah, blah. Face comparison is different from face detection. Use the similarity threshold, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and see, this is the thing, is to reduce the probability of false negatives, we recommend that you compare the target image against multiple source images. And that's the thing, is because FitCheck only takes in 2 images, it's unlikely, or it's likely that we will come across false negatives. And I don't want to make the experience bad if has a false negative, right? Like if it's saying like these are not the same person when really it is, it's just their AI model is saying they're not the same person. So I think if they're warning about it on this page, I'm going to trust that, and that it's not going to be good enough for us. So pardon me, let's go back to our Notion. Can we make this a package? I think we're not going to do that. I think I'll post it as like a gist or something. But yeah, this is awesome. So again, to kind of recap what we've done here, we've basically taken AWS Rekognition and we're using it as a content filter. We're using the AWS SDK. We're sending images to Rekognition based on the ones that have been uploaded to S3 already. We reviewed the responses and understand how we can use them to filter. We have left it open-ended as far as the moderation labels go, and it is configurable. So if someone wants to allow smoking, that's great. They can just pass that in as an allowed label. And then we block all of the labels. Otherwise we accept the list of acceptable labels, and we're not going to make it a package. So I mean, this is a really successful stream. I was actually a little nervous that we weren't going to be able to get this done, but I mean, we basically have a working content filter now. It just needs to be kind of cleaned up a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do that probably tomorrow or so. I might do a stream for that. I might not. I'm not sure at this point. But yeah, thank you guys again for joining me. If you haven't already, if you can follow me on YouTube, it's youtube.com/@nexay_dev. I'm on Twitch at twitch.tv/nexay, and on Twitter at Twitter/nexay. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful Sunday evening, and I will see you in the next one. Later.